Yeah, that accidental laugh that you had was kind of ridiculous because people might think that we like having fun here. No, guys, it's very serious. It's me and Philip, me and Stan from Kaliningrad.
Hi guys.
Hello, everyone. How you
Hi.
doing?
I'm alright. How are you?
Yeah, pretty much fine. Hope some people will come. Although I didn't advertise it anywhere, at least like only on my Facebook page. But anyways, we are not here to for the fame or something. We got some to talk about. Too. My cat is over here too, so might see over here.
Okay.
cannot
Yeah.
cannot touch it. Well, we have at least like three topics for discussion. We had Putin Biden so-called digital summit. Uh, they were talking for around like 2 hours, maybe a little less. It was a protected line, so nobody can actually know what they were talking about.
Right.
And mostly what we know is that after uh, after the talks between Vladimir Putin and Joe Biden, uh, we've obtained the details of the U.S. defense budget for 2022. So, firstly, the draft of the budget includes military assistance to Ukraine in the amount of $300 million. So that is not very big, as you can see. So even if they achieve something like I don't know, boats like they used to achieve, like they received uh, rubber boats, they received a couple of trucks, I believe, a couple of modifications of Javelin, which is anti-tank missile, but I'm not sure if they ever was supposed to use it anywhere. But anyway, so that's not a very big amount of money. Sanctions against Nord Stream 2 are excluded from the budget. So that says that this Russian pipeline, which is uh, providing the undemocratic uh, natural gas to European Union, instead of they just buying the so-called liquid gas from USA, which is more democratic but more expensive. But anyway, so they're gonna still use it, but I don't know when it's gonna start. It's just a soap opera, I would say, because the Nord Stream 2 is already constructed, was constructed, was finished, but now it's receiving the so-called licenses. And this story is not yet over. I don't know how much time they're gonna waste on that anymore, but some people even say that they already, you know, got more money for Nord Stream 2 because of those high gas prices that we have today. So the prices are still very high, and probably if this pipeline is gonna work, it's already been paid by those prices. So it also includes 4 billion for the initiative of military containment of Russia, $4 billion, which is quite big amount of money, and which is like 500 billion more than the White House actually requested. And sanctions against Russian sovereign debt are also not included in that agreed draft defense budget. So probably nobody's gonna do anything about SWIFT connections to the banking systems of Russia, and no high sanctions on sovereign debt. So we can still uh, sell our government debt papers like bills, bonds. I don't know. So the concern that the Joe Biden so-called voiced like he was vowing to President Putin the concern of the United States and European allies about the buildup of Russian troops near Ukraine. So everybody was concerned about that. So we're gonna talk about that topic a little bit more, a little bit after that. And so they discussed about strategic stability, and even agreed of, you know, creating some kind of group between NATO, Russia, and maybe somebody else even. So it's like big strategic stability group. And somebody even started already, these diplomatic activities. I know it's all fake, but it's what they have. And the American leader made it clear to Putin that the United States and its allies would respond with decisive economic and other measures to the military escalation in Ukraine. And so he called for de-escalation and diplomacy, but actually, they also discussed cybersecurity and the situation about Iran. I think they spent a bunch of time on that because the head of Mossad, the Israeli intelligence service, was recently visiting Russia. Probably had some to say. And oh, well, anyways. So, what are your thoughts about that?
You know, you named the whole list of things that the United States can apply to Russia, like sanctions, North Stream sanctions, some other economical sanctions. You just named the whole few, but you know, this is just they're continuing this so-called Cold War, because at some point they use this lever, at some point they use another lever. So it's it's like a DJ's mixing machine. So you just put the effects, a little bit more here, a little bit less here, a little bit more here, and the whole story is going round and round and round for many years. And this is the topic for the news. I mean, I hear about the Nord Stream for years, and I hear the escalation and military problems, and one country accuses another country in this and that, and this is like a political ping pong, so to say. So any of these things from the list you named can be applied anytime, because tomorrow we wake up, you hear some new news about this point and about that point, and it's just a manipulation. I guess. What do you think?
Well, I think you're kind of right about that because I just said that, like, it looks like a soap opera on this Nord
Exactly.
Stream. Yeah, so probably agree on that. So the main concern was actually about the second topic that we wanted to talk about.
You mean
Uh,
the war in
the
Ukraine?
so-called war. Yeah, so-called war. Because even my boss from Ukraine just called me today and said, like, what is going on, guys? I mean, we have so many information on TV that Russia is going to invade us very much soon. And he's saying, like, what are you folks like thinking, like, in Russia? I'm saying, really don't understand what's actually going on, but um, everybody's just waiting for somebody to start it. I mean, this is on the edge. When it's up to some certain soldiers or certain surgeons or maybe corporals or maybe lieutenants or maybe major who he will give some certain order to do something. And this is on this edge when it's not stable at all, it's not predictable, it's not controlled. And like the recent case when some Ukrainian troops got into the so-called gray zone where nobody's supposed to put troops in, and they got that village occupied, and we're like proclaiming it a big victory. I mean, so this is up to these soldiers on the ground right now. I mean, if they start something, then something's gonna be continued by whoever's doing the next step. In this case, it's Russia, because Putin said, like, we ain't playing with you guys. We ain't, you're just staying and chilling and watching what you gonna do first. The ball's on your side. We got what we got. Like on this picture, uh, like we got something, and you're gonna play with us, you know. And Biden said just the next day, he's saying, we ain't gonna fight for Ukraine. We ain't playing with you guys because Ukraine is not a NATO member, and nobody gonna have our American boots on the ground. And he said
Okay.
to NATO, he said to his allies that we ain't, fighting for Ukraine for whatever reason, at least right now, is what he said. But we're giving them military aid, we're giving them support in the media, and so on and so on, and maybe some sanctions in case of Russian invasion, is what he said to Putin. We'll give you enormous sanctions, like the sanctions, the mother of all sanctions.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's what this threatening this boogeyman is. So somebody's supposed to be a boogeyman. We're the boogeyman for Americans. Americans a boogeyman for us. I mean, this is the
Yeah.
how this reacts to each other. This ping pong game of so-called diplomacy,
Mhm.
and actually they spend in a bunch of money, wasting our time, wasting our media time, wasting a bunch of people's time, right?
And that this is not all. Um, I can tell to our viewers from the Western world how media highlights this situation in Russia, because I watched that news on CNN and some other Western media, and on Russian mainstream media too, in Russian. And this is some kind of preparation. I mean, all this tension in Ukraine is something. What they say is, guys, we're in the warfare right now, so your life will be even more miserable than it was before. Like it all started with Crimea in
2014.
2014, yes, and this was the reason, so-called reason, to tighten the belts, and we're under sanctions, and this is like a new series of soap opera. Like the economy in Russia was so poor. I mean, it was declining since then. And these jokes that we make here, that we just reached the bottom, and somebody knocks from, and start and continue digging in, you know, that kind of things. So this is the situation when we need to dig in even deeper, because we're on the verge of sanctions and some military actions, and here in Russia, it's total propaganda, I think. Um, like there is a saying that the TV won the refrigerator, which means, yeah, open the door of your refrigerator and you will see nothing. But people, just
Prefer to watch TV.
to watch TV and listen to all this crap,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. This is why they actually continue this stuff, because if we see this rather flat, if we don't see what's you know behind so-called the curtain, there's always a curtain for everything, right? This is a curtain, and we see only stage, we see the curtain closing, opening us something, some plays and acts, and they like play for us. Then curtain shuts down. We don't see what they changing stuff, you know, undressing, you know, dressing in others, acting,
yeah.
acting. This is acting like the theater, and but anyways,
Yeah, this theater is pretty bloody one, because
yes,
real
yes, that's
people
what.
get hurt.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say, because for really, this is all because of intelligence. This is what intelligence do. Intelligence is art. This is not science. Mm-mm. Intelligence is art, and everything unexplainable is an act of some countries, or some companies or corporations intelligence unit, where they plan something, the strategic planning, and assigning the roles to tactical players who manage tactical, missions. And this is how it goes.
Yeah, but the script is pretty much the same.
Because intelligence is like,
Maybe not so
I would say,
intelligent.
no, 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 no. Because they use what is working, and
of,
this
of
is
course.
working.
Yeah,
They use what is cheaper, what is working the most to, reaching the goal. And the goal is, tightening the belts, right? Depopulation, 3D, depopulation, deindustrialization, and de-densification. Okay,
yeah.
that's what they do. And we would be stupid not to see that, actually.
Okay, that's right. Besides, it's a good chance to burn some dollars in this war machine.
Perhaps, perhaps because nobody wants to do it right now. Because right now, we've been talking about oil prices, actually, and if the war starts right now, Russia will be embargoed with oil and gas trade, is what Biden said to Putin. He said, like, mother of all sanctions. Mother of all sanctions is embargo, like what they had with Iran when they were sanctioning anyone who would buy something from Iran, right? And nobody wanted to mess with Iran except that China and somebody else.
And Russia.
We didn't. Well, Russia didn't buy oil from Iran. Russia didn't need to buy oil at all, you know. But Russia made Iranian oil look Russian. That's what you were probably hearing, something like with what we're cooperating. Well, anyways, without the paper, you are kind of crap. But with the paper, you are human, citizen, whatever. Or right now with QR code, you kind of some kind of crap, and with QR code, quick response code, you are, a member of society, a citizen. You know. So, anyways, one of the main topics on this QR coding and all this stuff was actual information on who is involved in vaccine production in European Union. And guess who was involved? It's good old European Union. How do you call it? Um, Ursula von der Leyen. She is European Union Commissioner, and she is very much involved with vaccines production because her husband runs company that makes COVID vaccines. He is a German physician, Henko Echter von der Leyen. He is a German physician and member of noble family von der Leyen. Von der Leyen is married to the president of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen. Since December 2020, he is a medical director of the US biotech tech company Orgenesis, which is specialized in cell and gene therapies. Well, how do you like this one?
Not surprised. I think if you take a close look to any country that produces the
Well,
vaccine,
I just did.
we
I
can
just
find the
did.
same roots.
I just did because in Russia we have the same situation. Two congressmen from Communist Party found the information on our Russian decision-making government officials.
Okay.
Actually, they found that Popova, the head of Russian CDC, is receiving or might be receiving the patent pavements because she was an author of one of the three Russian vaccines, and those, copyright or I don't know, intelligence, how do you call it, um, intellectual property rights, and she's like authorizing and to receiving the payments for each each amount of product released in the market. um, but only Russian government is paying for that vaccine, this exact vaccine that she was making. The second lady is Golikova. She is a vice prime minister. Uh, so she also is involved because her relatives own one of the companies that is producing another vaccine and might also be the conflict of interest. So this is a kind of corruption investigation, but nobody's actually investigating anything. They
Of
just said
course not.
like she was also known as Madame Arbidol, one of the famous Russian and most useless drugs for cold relief, so-called antivirus drug,
Mm.
Arbidol, and was also involved in that corruption scandal, but nobody actually did anything with her.
I think sometimes what they put on TV is like just like an announcement. It's not something to investigate. It's not something to dig deeper. It's just an announcement. Okay, guys, hello. We're representative of one political party, and we'd like to share with you that this and that is going on, and it doesn't go any further. I mean,
You mean like
that,
food for thought for each group assigned, right?
uh, sometimes it sounds like a joke. Actually, they're just joking. They're just kidding, and I mean, they're making fun of us
Well,
openly.
recent case with the Russian Center of Government Services in Moscow, when one of the ex-military or ex, I don't know, some law enforcement agency veteran entered that center of services or government services and was asked to put the mask on, and he refused. After that, he pulled out his gun and shot the security guard and some lady who was yelling at him. After that, he shot a couple more times and hurt a bunch of people, like four, and got wounded and were attended to hospital. So,
Mhm.
and that was presented as the act of so-called crazy anti-vaxxer
Mhm.
in the media. Like he even said that I shot them because they didn't believe and that they believed in this CV-19, right?
Mhm.
This is crazy information, actually. This is what in the media, and it's flooding everywhere on the same time when so-called QR Code Act is actually discussed with the community, right?
Discussed. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody hears any discussion actually, but thankfully, Russian Congress leader Volodin posted on the Telegram that we are discussing this QR code stuff, and I will open up the comments to this post so the people can say whatever they want to say about this stuff because these doctors they gave me a letter when they want us to imply this QR code act. And guess what? He received around 1 million comments in a week, and 90% of those comments don't want QR codes at all. And like 50% of those commenters actually don't even believe that something is going on.
I
And this is
guess.
a group. This is a very big group of people. They've been
Yeah, but
calling them bots. They've been calling them, paid shills. They've been calling them spam. And now they see the big number of people actually that don't even have PCR tested themselves for 2 years at all and don't even know what the hell are they talking about. What kind of QR codes, man?
okay. But do you think they're gonna they're gonna hear them, or they just suppress and get out of media and enforce the order, and that's it? I think that's the plan. I mean, yeah, there are lots of people who don't believe in this crap, but
What they actually wanted the QR code to be applied for three categories of people: those who have been officially diagnosed by the PCR test and called for a doctor to assign these diagnoses in his medical information book or in the computer system database. And that's how he can say that I was, you know, actually, um, I was diagnosed as CD positive, and so I have a right to apply for and receive the QR code, which is now valid for 1 year. It was valid for 6 months, and now it's valid for 1 year. So it's kind of reasonable, right? But anyways, second group of people who can receive QR codes, those have um,
Treatment.
medical rejection for this. They
Oh,
have
okay.
like, yeah, medically backed reasons for not doing the
Oh, yeah.
vaccination. And
Okay.
so this is like they estimated like 2 or 3%, but I already know like two people in my family who can do that. And one of my wife's mother actually received that medical rejection. Well, anyways, and the third group is who was vaccinated, and they say like this QR code will be valid for 1 year. And today they said, okay, we're going to discuss another category of people, those silent majority people who were not even applying for doctors, who just maybe sniffed or maybe even not, coughed at all for 2 or 3 days, and they're going back to work. And maybe they have the antibodies, and they can do a test. And if they have antibodies enough to say that they have, antibodies enough to say that they have for this so-called infection, and so on. So I mean, uh, this is kind of shifting towards the people, because probably a bunch of people have these antibodies. But anyways, some other officials said, guys, what is QR code was designed for? It was designed for the, you know for the market, for the selling goods from,
Keeping
it's
track.
yeah. What it has supposed to do with the people? And like, what? Really? It's discrimination. And they say like it's contradicting the constitution, and somebody even says this, written like, it's disgusting, it's discriminating. Like, do something else, think about some other thing. And
Yeah,
they
like,
probably say, oh, yeah, we're gonna think about some other thing too. And that was a big step back for them.
it's a step back and two steps forward always.
Probably.
Because nobody reads and nobody follows the Constitution. It's a very interesting document, and I totally agree that QR codes are for marketing, uh, but you know, from the Bible, in the book of Revelation, it says that nobody can sell or buy anything unless you have a sign of the beast. So
Yeah, I
this
heard
is
that.
there is a parallel,
Yeah.
because what I believe that maybe in 1 year, maybe in 2 years, or maybe even earlier, you cannot even walk into the grocery store to buy stuff unless you have a QR code. Right now, what the only thing they're asking is to put your mask on the cashier, but you
Well,
cannot buy.
in other countries, you can't even take it off.
Yeah,
You're walking in the streets in this mask, man.
I know. It's in Russia, it's like a heaven right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You actually enter a cafe, you find out that nobody's in the mask, except maybe some, waiters, or maybe cashier guy, even sticking their nose out like this, because it's hard to breathe actually. But anyways,
But
uh,
I have a point. Just a second. I have a point on that. Uh, I think I said before in our uh, previous videos that this is not. Russia's problem. This is Western crisis. So all these virus-connected things is to stop Western economy because our economy is stopped already long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, what
So
they actually haven't been, testing for this is the actual economy, and economy is right now looks very painful, I would say.
yeah,
Not only in European countries. I think China is also having some, problems because Evergrande, the biggest developer of China, just announced the bankruptcy today. It was like, wow, because everybody was thinking that they're gonna pay their debts, but no, they announced the bankruptcy procedures. So this is the might actually affect on what's gonna happen next couple of weeks. If we have this collapse domino effect in China, which is like economy number one or even, well, let's say two for now, but in potentially we're gonna affect everybody's else market because Shanghai is a very big real estate market. Hong Kong is a very big real estate market. If something's happening there, if something's gonna have to collapse, all these bubbles gonna blow everywhere. If you know
well,
what I'm saying.
the property bubbles are not new to our
Exactly.
society.
Exactly. And it worked
So
before and it's gonna work again.
maybe it's time for China right now. It's okay. After the bankruptcy of this company, there will be another company, some kind of new enterprise that will continue this perpetual thing.
Yeah, knowing that for sure, but knowing what to sell and when to do that, that is the biggest thing what they have right now. Those insiders that actually architect all these procedures, they're gonna sell at the very moment when it's gonna happen, and
You
they
mean
actually receive the most. You
you
know,
mean sell the shares of this company?
yeah, stock
Oh,
markets, it's indexes, everything.
okay.
Like I was talking about, if you remember, I was talking about a guy who was architect of the 20th century. I call him architect of 20th century. His name is Baruch, Bernard Baruch. He was American advisor for several presidents, and he was architect of the Wall Street, uh, you know, all this stuff. He was a wolf of the Wall Street, actually,
Okay.
and he was actually the architect of Great Depression. He was architect of Federal Reserve System. He was that one who was behind all this management, you know,
Mhm.
because all these big players didn't want to show up there. They wanted to be listed, but they don't want to show up. And so he did all this stuff. He was running from office to office and actually solving the problems. He was Henry Kissinger of those times of beginning 20th century, right?
Okay. Okay.
And probably he was the one who was actually doing all this big money for America to, you know, raise this huge bubble of the power number one of the world, right? He was the one who was actually making money on World War One, and he was the one who was making American money on a World War Two. Okay,
Yeah.
and this is how they're gonna do it again because it works. Why not? Why not do it again? Because until it works, they're gonna play it. This is
Yep.
actually amazing how intelligence works. Intelligence is an art. Somebody is actually following, like the theater. It's what they call the theater because they play all the same plays again and again each season. If you read each season's, you know, how do you
Yeah.
call it, menu or
Yeah.
whatever, you find out that pretty much the same stuff each year, and that's how intelligence works.
Yeah. This is what
Nothing
I'm talking
changed.
about. Nothing changes. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's one more interesting thing I heard, that the big corporations uh, are actually unprofitable, and they're always in debt. And this is how it was designed, but on purpose. It's like a big black hole. Like big aircraft companies, mm, because this aircraft traffic stopped in 2020, and lots of planes were put to the fields, to stand by. And you can imagine what kind of losses these company held. But those losses are paid with the government, because in the oligarchy, there's a big connection. It's not even connection. It's a total uh, uh, melting
Melting pot.
substance. Yeah, yeah, of government people and people from corporations. So if the people who redistribute money, so it's okay to be in debt. It's okay to be unprofitable, because you always have your back covered. And at some
Yeah.
point, like this big Chinese company, it happens that somebody says, okay, that's enough for this big hole. And so the top managers and the big shareholders withdraw their money and sell the shares, and all the other shareholders just fall apart, and lose a lot. And the same scenario, actually.
Yeah. Just cut the fur of your sheeple.
Yep.
Every say who says the Bible is everything is a lie. Who says the Bible is the truth? Well, Peter, I don't think the Bible is 100% truth, but allegory, and we are talking about actually how this theater works, right? So it's an art of intelligence. It's like an art of theater. It's pretty much the same, because it's an art. An art is the uh, it's it's love, it's emotions. That's why it's threat. It's constant threat. It's a therapy of cortisol hormone that we receive each and every day. And while we receive it, we act different. We feel this. We feel different. We always stressed, always with this PTSD syndrome, post-traumatic syndrome, because 2 years of this stress is like 2 years living in occupation, or in the concentration camp, or in the digital concentration camp, whatever you call it, right? Because what was normal back like 2 years ago is unachievable anymore. We don't have this freedom of movement anymore. We are controlled more, and we are going to be controlled even more. And nothing's going to change corruption, because we talk about the case when the information about involvement of some certain government officials in the vaccine production. The same decision making people have uh, close ties to the pharmacological big pharma, right? And those people who actually were established in big pharma in America, these Rockefeller clan people, they knew what they were doing. In all this liberal system was created by them and the players that were joining them, like George Soros and plenty more, so-called architects of the Great Reset. We were talking about that stuff before. All these people using the ideology of socialism, communism, whatever you call it, capitalism. It's all the same ideology. It's based on the process of actually exploitation of the human resources. And that's what the communist science was right about: capitalism. But on the same side, communism has the same goal as the capitalism, because capitalism wants the victory of the world capital, and the communists want the victory of the world proletariat. But that can be achieved only after the victory of the global capital. So this is how they, collaborate in the right and
Yeah,
left hand of the same same people.
because there are always two classes. There is an upper class, and there is no middle class. Middle class is a myth, So, at at any time, ancient times, like centuries before and now, there are only two classes: the ruling class on top and everybody else, and the big gap between them. So both systems, uh, communism and capitalism, they have those two classes. The one class that can do anything, has the resources, the money, the power, the military, the police, and to guard them, and everybody else.
Yeah, and the third topic I wanted to talk about today was the new soap opera, right? Let me just share screen for a second. Let's see. Like, I wanted to Google for this name. We all know this name. It's Ghislaine Maxwell. Uh,
Ghislaine, Ghislaine,
Ghislaine.
yeah,
I was
Ghislaine.
also Ghislaine. I was trying to pronounce it this way because I've heard like maybe some. Well, anyways, Lady Maxwell or Miss Maxwell, or Mrs. Maxwell. I don't actually know. So there's so many news about it. Um, what are your thoughts on this case? Do you actually know who Jeffrey Epstein was and why he was imprisoned?
Oh, I've heard this story maybe a year or maybe 2 years ago. I don't really keep track on those soap operas, like you said, especially with politically engaged. Um, but this is the certainly the same case. It's politically engaged soap opera, and I think it will go on and on. And it's
Yeah,
very
Robert
strange.
Maxwell. You know who Robert Maxwell was? Have you heard about him?
Not
The
really.
father of her,
Okay.
uh, uh, Robert Maxwell. Uh, he was a so-called former member of parliament, media proprietor, but he was a Jew, escaped from Nazi occupation. He joined the Czechoslovak army, and during World War II, and after decorated service in British Army. So then he was also known as an agent of so-called Mossad. Um, so this is the official page. You probably won't find anything about that, but he was actually involved in many scandals and so on. So Jeffrey Epstein was a millionaire, billionaire, right? Financist, and he was convicted for sexual offense and including pedophilia and so on. And in this list, you can also see Prince of Duke of York, Prince Andrew. He was also involved in this investigation.
Mm.
Uh, that's why I was talking about connections to the British Crown also, and they were hiding this case. And Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself, but he was found hanged in his cell, and the video surveillance was turned off just a day before he died, and his co-seater, and he was a double camera, so he in a double cell, so double person cell, and his body was released, I believe. Also, nobody saw anything, and all this information that he knew, and he didn't actually tell it to the public, but he knew a lot. He had a book of people who were listed and who were traveling so-called Lalita Express or whatever it was called, for the reason of their actions. What they were actually doing is promoting child and teenage pedophilia.
Okay.
He had a private island, and a bunch of people were actually traveling there, and even Bill Clinton, I believe, was
And Bill
also
Gates
there.
also.
Bill Gates, I think, too.
Yeah.
And
I saw the list. This is very, very interesting because I think it's all about marketing anyway. uh, Lately on CNN and some other media, people were interviewed and they promoted their books. I remember the situation with Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky, if you remember that story. I think this is the total distraction. I mean, look here, don't look here, because everybody who watches TV uh, finds, you have to say something interesting, something intriguing, the investigation, the case, the warfare, and everything. So uh, this story repeats itself one more time. I
and there
mean,
was a look at this tweet. We know that FBI uncovered 20,000 images from the Epstein mansion in Manhattan. None of those are being entered into the Ghislaine Maxwell case. This ain't an investigation. This is a cover-up. So some people still believe this is gonna be, some historical trial where everybody's gonna be, exposed for
yeah,
being
right.
with Epstein with on his island, all these big name people, these VIPs, like they're gonna be trialed after that. No, nothing's gonna happen. There's gonna be a soap opera. You're gonna be waiting for something, and nothing's going to happen.
Yeah, but there is one very interesting point to that. Uh, this is the announcement once again, because this story is told everywhere, so many people hear of that, and I think this is one of the ways for the people who rule the world, so to say, to show how they live, because I think this is not on the island. And after this island was discovered, what do you think? The people who went to this island uh, cannot find another one. They lock down themselves in their castles. No, they're just having fun. They just traveling around and going to similar facilities. And maybe there is another Epstein, whatever his name. Uh,
Epstein.
yeah, I mean, doing the same thing. I mean, another guy with a similar name.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And look whose sister. She's the founder of Chiliad, the software that the FBI uses for database search.
right.
And so there's a bunch of so-called conspiracy theories group which are related to so-called QAnon group, and they've been talking about that stuff for like 3 to 4 years, and nothing actually happened, is what we see. So I think it's just a part of this distraction campaign that the intelligence actually working on to cover up actual people who are behind this Epstein Island, who were actually involved in some, actually traveling to the island and maybe having some parties, or maybe even just, doing some fair stuff. Who knows? But right now they're compromised, and we don't know actually, were they involved, not involved. Nobody's gonna interrogate them. Nobody's
Uh,
gonna interview them. Nobody's gonna know anything about those people. This is topic of nobody's gonna talk about anything. You know.
but still, you opened the web browser and you showed the list, and the list will stay there.
Exactly. And these people are
No,
gonna be hooked on this information. They're gonna act as the intelligence wants them to act. Right? This is like what they say: if you don't have any compromise for a certain person, like compromising materials in Russian intelligence slang. If you don't have compromise, you won't be a director of a company. You won't be anybody in the government. You won't be a mayor, or you know a big lawyer or a prosecutor, because you don't have nothing to talk about, like anything that is discrediting you. You are not hooked on some information. You can be blackmailed. You can be, you know, turned to some action that you don't want, or you cannot be said to vote for something if you don't have to vote for that. But if you have compromise, sorry, buddy, you're gonna work for us.
I think that everybody who went to this island knew exactly what they are going to do there. You know, uh,
Perhaps.
like on some media, I saw the interview with the accuser in the court. Uh, the One of the ladies that
Prosecute her.
was she was raped actually at this island. Her name is
Ah,
Sarah Ransom. Yeah, and she even wrote a book, coincidentally, right
yeah.
in the right time, in the right place. And I think it's all about buying and selling. People need that kind of information, the intriguing part. So this book is called Silence No More: Surviving My Journey to Hell and Back. The big name on the cover. Like I cannot imagine the situation. She said she was raped there. Okay. By the way, she has a long story with her stepfather and something. And I can you imagine the situation? Uh, you walk up to a girl in the street and say, "Hey, girl, would you like to go with me to the island, to the tropical island?" Why? Well, we're gonna, do some snorkeling and build some sand castles on the beach, and what? This girl knew exactly what she were going to do over there. You know, they're making just fools of us. You know.
Well, probably they were hiring somebody who were actually doing some inside investigation, uh, yeah, who were doing that on purpose. But most of the people, is what they say, were brought there for even for making money and for being sold to those guests as a present or whatever, So that would be just not very interesting for us to discuss. But anyways, we can only guess what happened. But the main cover up is the intelligence game. The British intelligence, MI6, probably is working here. Maybe CIA, and maybe FBI, maybe somebody else. Who knows? Maybe some other leaders were visiting this island. Who knows?
And
Right?
how many islands are there?
Yeah. Maybe there's just a small part of what we know.
Of the chain, yeah. Mm.
Yeah. And there's a chain network of these, like these QN people were believing that somebody's fighting in the tunnels of America, in those underground um, hidden bases, and releasing those crowds of innocent kids that were raped by pedophiles in those underground bunkers. Well, they're actually waiting for somebody to, turn things around in these elections for the day, maybe even for half a year after everything was announced. They were waiting. I was actually waiting for months or two, and then I said, look, what the hell was going on? This is all staged. Nobody's gonna do anything. That was like, actual, I call it cognitive dissonance
Yeah,
state that I have, because
yeah.
I was
But
believing that somebody's gonna act, but no, it was just screen playing all this stuff in front of our eyes, and we were like watching and couldn't do anything.
yeah, but we have to understand that at the same moment this trial right now is going on, that means that behind the curtains something bigger is going on.
Of course,
It's always a cover-up story.
Prince Andrew could be the biggest story, right? Because it leads to maybe Prince Charles. Who knows? What do you think about that?
Uh, I don't know. I don't have an opinion right now on that topic.
There's an information that Prince Charles actually receives all the uh, all the uh, all the tasks that the Queen used to do,
Oh,
and
okay.
so they are like preparing for the future already. So probably this is gonna be over maybe next year. Who knows?
Hmm.
And Queen's gonna be queen till the day she dies, is what she says. She ain't gonna. They're actually investigating that stuff not that long ago. And there's always also a picture that was released. You can see that. So this is Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein, and they are like having fun at the Queen's residence in Balmoral. This is a picture of pedophile Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell relaxing at what appears to be Queen's Balmoral residence, has been shown to a U.S. court. The undated image is thought to have been taken in 1999, 666 there, when Prince Andrew reportedly invited the couple to stay at the Scottish estate. Miss Maxwell, 59 years old, is currently on trial for allegedly grooming, that's how they call it, grooming teenage girls for abuse by the late Epstein between 1994 and 2004. She has denied all the charges. Yeah, how do you like
Yeah.
that?
And I think she says she's a victim in this case. That's what I
Well,
heard.
she has pictures with everybody, I believe. Trump, I don't know, Clinton's. She was everywhere. She was this and there. She was.
She was a lady of the house, like one of the witnesses said. Witnesses.
This is Joe Biden, actually.
Where am I? I'm right here.
Okay, here, boss, let's go over here. Okay, once you turn around to your right.
Hey, folks,
there
how are
you
you?
go. And here we
Good to
go.
see you, man.
And here we are.
What is that?
This is how it goes. Look at this.
Where am I? I'm right here.
Okay, here, boss, let's go over here.
Where are they?
Turn around to your
Hey,
right.
folks, how are you?
And
Yeah.
here we
Good to see
go.
you, man.
And here we are.
I don't understand where are they either. You know, when they show this on TV, that's on purpose. That's totally on purpose.
Totally a distraction campaign, right?
You know, just one more reason to laugh.
And you actually believe this kind of person could actually talk with Putin and threaten with some sanctions? Are you sure? I'm not sure about that.
one talking head to another. I don't see anything in that. Besides, the computer technologies are very high right now, so this could be like a 3D setup, like it's very convenient right now because people are talking over Skype, over the video phone, Zoom, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah,
a 3D
it
image,
was
talking.
it was a protected line, as I was said before.
Yeah, right,
So
right.
nobody knows actually. Maybe they just set up for the media for a couple of minutes and then just talk blah 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 about their grandkids and whatever, right?
Maybe.
Grandkids, like Biden used to talk about his kids liking rubbing his legs and putting his hair up. He likes when the kids are jumping on the laps.
Stop doing that, please.
Yeah. He even showed that to the public. I mean, that's disgusting. Yeah.
Today I tried to search this conversation between them, and all the video footages are just like 3 minutes long or even shorter, and I don't know why wouldn't they show the whole thing, or maybe different parts of it. They just waved to each other and
Yep.
said something.
Protected line.
Yeah.
Line. Another interesting thing that happened is let's see. Merkel era is over. Let's see which one would be better. Maybe this one. So this looks like a fire show that the Nazis used to have. Right? So these orchestras, she's dressed in black, all these fires and so on. Symbolism here.
Mm-hmm.
She is kind of crying. Look, her eyes are kind of wet. And they even play the song that she likes, Nina Hagen, and so on. Look at this.
That's interesting.
16 years, an era of Merkel is over. Okay.
Is it? Just kidding.
Yeah.
For how long Putin is in Kremlin?
Putin is
from
20,
2000.
like in 1999. So it's like 22 years already. 22.
23. Yeah, 22.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she was 16, so maybe she's gonna have some future in, I don't know, maybe European Union. Who knows?
Maybe she'll just relax on some tropical island for the rest of her life.
Who knows, actually. It's a big club. We ain't in it. It's not like somebody that she's actually, her friend, Ursula von der Leyen, has a husband who was in a pharmacy company. So Ursula von der Leyen was Ministry of Defense in the cabinet of Merkel. So they might be pretty good, some European commissioners. I don't know. If she's gonna work, I don't know if she's gonna work at all. Nobody knows.
Same people everywhere.
Yeah. These are big paid actors. These are managers. These are actually people who are playing front man. And they actually do something and decision making people. But somebody's behind their opinions, and somebody's always playing them. That's what my point of view is. It's
I
not like
agree.
total show and everybody's just a random playing actor. Or on the other hand, it's not a totally controlled show. It's partly controlled show.
I think they have like something like branches. You can do something between this and between that.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
Your field of competence is what they call it. You receive your field of competence and area of competence. You
And the
become a
main
specialist.
and the main agenda is put your people at home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Depopulate, deindustrialize, and de-densify the people.
Yeah.
Because communication, that's what's hurting them. They're afraid of what? They're afraid of education, communication, and leadership.
Do you
They're
think
also
they
afraid of middle class because middle class has a social lift to the upper class, to the elites. That's why they cut off the middle class so they don't have to be worrying about them anymore. And they also cut the property because property is a base of forming a middle class. So they cut off property and cut off middle class as a class at all. And they leave only three threads right now.
Yeah. Well, I read in one book. It's very interesting. It was never translated into Russian. The American professor, what's his name? Tragedy and Hope. This book is called. Carol Quigley. And in the end of his book, he's writing about middle class that it never existed. Actually, it's a myth. It's like something that was invented on purpose, just to keep
To oil the future crisis.
yeah.
So it will slide more smoothly without those tensions and burning of butts during the slide.
Well, maybe, and just to show the prosperity, the imaginary prosperity, actually, because middle class is made from people like entrepreneurs, the businessmen that open the companies, open the businesses. Many people
And the people with education and skills, right?
yeah, that's right.
That's why they don't want education. That's why they don't want leadership. Because those people, the educated people, pick their leader because they're smart enough to do that, and they know how to pick the most competent.
Yeah, but
If that is not a democratic system of elections, if it's just a system of where people can elect, or not elect, but pick a person, like a small company or small community, small town, small city, people can actually govern themselves. And that looks like that old system of self-governance. That's what they don't want. They want these democratic systems of elections where everybody can pick, not only smart people, but everybody.
yeah, but smart people are in minority.
They were the middle class. They were used to attract these Eastern camp countries, people like Poland, Hungary, Bulgaria, Czechoslovakia, Russia, Ukraine, Lithuania, and so on, so on, so on. These people were already soaked as the lemon, and they don't have any more for them to give. All those best programmers, the best people in digital, came from the Eastern camp countries. Such software as Skype, for example, was produced in Estonia. Estonia has a bunch of drones which are delivering goods and they have a bunch of companies of high tech. They have some high tech segment, very highly emergent and developed. We can talk about Belarusians who have created a bunch of products also, like very famous game World of Tanks, which beat the Guinness record a couple of times. Russians have a lot of companies like Google was created by ex-Soviet person, I believe, right?
I'm not sure, but I know that lots of scientists, might immigrated to United States
Because of the
to Europe.
education system. It's a education that produced all those people. Soviet educational system, which was actually gained by the Finland, and Finland right now has overall best educational system in the world.
Yeah, well,
You probably know a bunch of mathematicians, right, that were back from the Soviet times, Soviet intelligence. This what was attracted by this middle class of Americans, where you have to be just a professional in certain field of area and earn enough money to buy yourself a mortgage and a car credit, right? And pay extra money with the low percentage interest, rather low than what we have right now in Russia, for example, which is like twice or three times more than you guys have in your countries. But, anyways, this is not a problem. The problem was to attract these intelligent people from the Soviet camp to the Silicon Valleys of the future digital America, which would create this digital atmosphere and be assigned to control the behavior of the future generations of dumbed down population, which are not going to be educated anymore, which are going to be totally controlled and de-densified enough to produce less biological trash, garbage, and so on, consume a lot less, and work a lot more.
you mean you're talking about what countries right now?
I'm talking about the future. Why they were using the Soviets' intelligence in the digital, because they wanted to soak the brains from these countries, and they got the best, right? They got the best people. They hired all these human resources. They're around working for these digital corporations, Microsoft, you name it, right? And these are future demiurgs of this reset, and they're going to be controlling the behavior in the social field and knowing exactly what they assign to every person. They're going to be controlling the movement. They're going to be controlling what you consume, everything, right? This virtual atmosphere is going to be doing, we've talked about meta, right? And this is what upcoming, this virtual, how do you call it, virtual atmosphere, not virtual environment, virtual environment of the future.
I think we need to discuss meta separately in different video. That's a whole story. I'm reading a book, Snow Crush.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Yeah, I want you to share your opinion on the book and tell us what's happening briefly. What are you reading about right now?
It's about 1/3 left, so I just want to see the whole picture first.
Okay. So the general idea is that book was created by the author who was the first one who coined the word metaverse, right?
Yeah, and it was 1992. This book was released.
Yeah. So might as well do an extra video on that, extra chat on this metaverse when you're done with your book and I'm done with my book, because I have like also, just like this.
Uh,
Yeah, that's how it is. Well, anyways, it was nice to talk today, and thanks everybody in the chat. Uh, Sorry for doing not very intensified calendar on this channel, but we're gonna do like one, maybe two videos per month.
maybe
Either with
more.
maybe more. It depends on me first of all, because uh, it's me that always busy. Stan is rather uh, welcome to any action, right?
That's right.
And we're gonna do some more coverage on reset, because very important. I'm reading right now these anti-utopias, and gonna be presenting also this concept of predictive behavior that they were promoting via several opinion leaders in 19th century and the 20th century, and which resulted in what we have today. Clearly the picture is visible, step-by-step programming by different authors, and the concept and the narrative, everything matches what they were talking about in their books. Okay.
Yeah, those guys pretty smart. I know the list of the books that is discussed in your book, and these
You've
books
read
should.
some. You've read some of them, right?
I read probably all of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and 1984 and Brave New World and We by Zamyatin, the Russian author. All this.
Okay. Okay. It would be nice to discuss if you read it. Actually, maybe I'll take some time and do it a lot faster. Well, anyways, thanks everybody who joined us today, and see you guys later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.